Welcome to Subramani. I had to do this, had to make this video on the Axis mutual fund. Let's still call it probe. I would not call it a scam as of now. We don't know. We are awaiting the details. So first, the declaration of vested interest. I have done training in Axis. I have invested some money in Axis. It is insignificant. It's not a big amount. I don't do anything else with them, but I have a lot of friends working in Axis. I know people who have invested. I know MFDs who have recommended. So to that extent, yes, there is some vested interest. Like I would have a vested interest in every fund house, because everybody is either a client or a potential client. So to that extent, you should be aware. Now what has happened is there is a very loud whisper of saying that there has been front running by a couple of fund managers who have been named, so I will name them, so currently they stand suspended. Till last week there were murmurs, and but even I had heard about it, but I didn't know too much, and I never liked the mid cap small cap space in the hands of fund managers, because it's always open to abuse. This is not the first time that one is hearing. One has heard earlier. Bigger fund houses have been named, more reputed fund houses have been named. So I wouldn't want to get into all those details. So yes, so what exactly is front running? When somebody who has sensitive information, it need not be just the broker, it could be the managing director, it could be the company secretary, it could be the person typing the notice to the board of directors saying this is what we are going to do. It could be anyone. It does not mean he has to be very high up in the hierarchy or low down in the hierarchy. Anybody could be doing this. Is somebody with sensitive information goes and does a deal in the market before the market knows. For example, if I am a very influential journalist and I am going to write an article about a company, I can go and buy the shares on a Thursday or a Friday, and on a Monday when the article comes, I can just go and sell it off in the market, right? So either it could be, or I could be selling in the market so that I can go on a Monday morning and buy it because I'm going to write something negative about a company. So could be anything. So anybody with influence, could be the auditor, could be the secretary, company secretary, could be really anybody, or of course the broker or the fund manager, somebody who knows what trade is going to happen very soon, and therefore they go and do the same transaction in their own books, and therefore they get a price benefit of doing that, right? So it's as simple as that. So does it happen? Yes, it happens. Is it rampant? We would never be able to know whether it is rampant. Can it happen in large cap funds? Extremely difficult. You cannot go and say I'm going to buy Reliance so the price will go up. On the day that you buy Reliance, somebody else could be selling Reliance, because it is large volumes which happen. I mean, lakhs and crores of shares are dealt with every day in an SBI, HDFC, Larsen & Toubro, Reliance, and companies of that kind. So really it's very difficult, but it can happen in case of a smaller company. I could pick up a company to write about on, say, Monday morning, and therefore I could on a Friday go and buy the share. Let's say I buy something like a Vent India, a Bosch, LMW, or things, Procter and Gamble, right? So what happens in such shares? There is just not adequate volume. So it is easy for a small cap fund manager or a broker to manipulate these shares. So what he has to do, it's very simple. He has to buy the shares, keep it with himself, maybe fund it with borrowing, because only then you can go and make big money. And as soon as the fund house finishes buying, you then sell it off, right? So this is what seems to have happened, but it's too early days. Axis has sent out a small letter saying we are currently probing. So I think we should wait for the details. We should not jump to conclusions. So this is what is front running. What has happened in Axis, I think the board of directors, the trustees, etc. have to come clean. They have to say, well, this happened, this happened, this happened. Now some people have compared it to what happened in Franklin Templeton. This is not comparable. In Franklin Templeton, there was no allegation of any personal gains by any of the people involved. Here the whole thing has arisen from the fact that people think that there has been a personal gain. He either owns a Lamborghini or he has taken a test drive. We wouldn't know, we never know. People are all speculating. All the speculation is on Twitter and I wouldn't call it social media, on irresponsible media, because anybody can say anything without having any kind of responsibility. So I would not want to say anything like that. If you are an investor in Axis Bank mutual fund, what should you do? I don't think you have anything to worry about if you are in the blue chip funds, right? In the large cap funds, you don't have anything to worry. You can't do anything if you are stuck in an ELSS scheme. It is in, you just can't do anything. So that brings you to what happens if you are invested in the mid cap and small cap. Well, if you see a fall in NAV, it is bound to scare you. Nothing is wrong with the fundamental portfolio per se, but if these portfolios have been from companies which have bribed the fund manager to buy it, or broker front running and therefore the AMC buying it, in all those cases you have to be a little worried as to why does the company bribe the fund manager to buy the share and keep it there, and of course increase the NAV. So it's not, performance is not an issue, but performance becomes an issue when something like this hits the market. What can you do right now? Maybe nothing if you are in a large cap fund, but in a small cap or a mid cap fund, keep watching. Keep for yourself a mental limit as to at what NAV you will want to get out. Not because mid cap, small cap space is a problem, but because you don't want to be in this fund house during this period. The thing very wrong with the fund house, as I said in my earlier statement, that I have friends working here. You never know, when you see such things, you shudder to think that was it so obvious, why did they miss out? I don't want to comment on any of those things. I feel very sad because it's a good fund house. At least it used to be a good fund house. With all this, they're going to be set back by a longish period. Maybe it will take them another 5-6 years to re-establish. Will people come back to the fund house? Will people, all that is right now in the speculation mode. What can they do? Very clearly they have to come out and say this is what happened, this is the action we took, and this is how we came clean. And knowing Amitabh Chaudhary, the big boss in Axis Bank, he has zero tolerance for such shit. So he will come clean. He will definitely push the trustees and the board to come clean, because what is at stake is not just the AMC but even the bank, right? So everything could impact the bank also. And it's not a very big bank. It is of course a big bank, but not very big like SBI or HDFC or ICICI. So any hit here will be impacted there. So I'm sure that they will be careful. They will want to come clean. They're still very young bank in terms of banking. They're really young. So I am sure that they will come out with a proper answer to all these questions. So this guy Viresh Joshi, right, and his assistant, 2 people have been currently suspended, and or I don't know whether they've been sacked. I haven't gone in for the details. Their Bloomberg ID was suspended according to the social media reports. So I think further action will happen. Now I have the reason why such things happen is because I'm not blaming SEBI, but there is a SEBI rule which says you cannot do more than 5% business with one broker. Now that means if I am the head of compliance, or if I'm the CIO, I will make sure that I deal with at least 30-35 brokers, maybe more. And so that I don't unnecessarily transgress a very simple rule. The rule is very simple, so 5%. So ideally I should have 20 brokers and I should deal perfectly with each one of them, but it's very difficult. So I may have 30-35 brokers. Now handling 35 brokers is not easy, not from an operational point of view, but for doing their due diligence, for checking out whether they have good insider trading laws. Simple laws like can can a person walk into their dealing room and do a transaction without it being routed through the telephone system or through the voicemail or through the net, right? So how is tracking done? What do they do to make sure that their dealers don't do unauthorized trades? How do you right, all those compliance oriented stuff. Now if I'm a big mutual fund, I would want to deal with a big broker. Maybe I want to deal with 4 or 5 brokers, not more than that. 4 brokers and one broker, whoever comes to me with a great idea and says therefore this share is a good buy, maybe with him. Not more than 4 or 5 brokers is what I want to deal with. But this Mickey Mouse rule has to go. And this Mickey Mouse rule makes sure that there are some small brokers who will, it's not that only small brokers break rules, but it is easier to break rules for a small broker in a small outfit than for a big, for an employee of a big broking company. So I think Axis has the management bandwidth to set things right. They should ensure that some of the more shady brokers whose names are doing the round saying this is what he did and this is what he would make Joshi would buy the shares, hold it, and then when it became came to particular size, then he would place it with the AMC. We will never be able to know. And even if the probe, I don't think any of these juicy details are going to come out. But as far as we are concerned, we have to wait for the report. I can't understand one thing. If a probe is on for the last 2 months, as the message from the AMC says, what the hell was the dealer doing for till today, right? If I start a probe on a dealer, I don't want the dealer coming to my office. I want him to sit at home. Maybe I'll pay him salary. I don't have an issue. But he will not come to office. He will not deal. He will not talk to brokers. He will not use my email ID. He will not use the Bloomberg terminal. I'm quite surprised. I'm quite intrigued actually with this. So let's see, let's wait, let's get the details. I'm sure they are not a fly-by-night AMC. They are a good AMC. They will come back with all the details. At that stage, we can decide what to do. Right now, if you are invested in their small and mid-cap funds, etc., put a limit at what level, till what level you wouldn't mind, and that if it breaches that stage, maybe you should exit. If you have an SIP, what should you do? Obviously, you should immediately stop. There is no point in putting more money after it. Maybe the company itself will suspend, I don't know, but at least you stop putting your SIP money. We can wait. There are better, perhaps better fund houses with better mid cap, small cap schemes. So sorry that I had to do a video like this, because every few years something like this comes up and it sets back the whole industry by a few years. Thank you.